Yeah. Secret Society Productions. Do them and I'll just do me. Do them and I'll just do me. Masons think they added, blacks think they national. Celebrating King's speeches at the Capitol. Don't have rights, so they act like an animal, thinking they the baddest in a dead status. Won't listen when I say they brown, not black. Don't think they sound like a clown on crack. Won't realize since their third eyes closed. Don't realize they waste money on clothes. Children with ashy knees, most are obese. Moms don't cook but order pizza with cheese and buckets of the clone chicken is finger licking till your arteries are sticking. Heart stop ticking. They wanna play the blame game, but it's too late. Most still don't learn till it's too late. I'll let them do them and I'll just do me. Stay watching DVD lectures and Bun TV. Let the dead do them and I'll just do me. My order of the day is still nationality. Let the dead do them, I'll just do me. Stay watching DVD lectures and Bun TV. I'll do me and let the dead do them. Mixing their trees with the cigarette blend. I'll do me and let the dead do them, accepting a slave brand to identify them. I'm on Big Book, can't believe they so dead. Talking without thinking, brainless heads, aimless threads. If you're black, you're a slave. Instead of humbling, they delete me from their page, calling me names, but that's no bother. Most are the return of emergency fund robbers, pushing the I'm black to cause friction. That's when I agree and I'm in the jurisdiction. They want me Morisco and at the disco. Caravana isn't carnival, no more calypso. The problem's not the world but the people in it. Abusers of authority got the people timid. Not behind the wheel but giving themselves limits. Things I say make pop eyes without spinach. Too much dead to wake up, work can't finish. The first Jews weren't black or their language Yiddish. Let the dead do them and I'll just do me. My order of the day is still nationality. Let the dead do them, I'll just do me. Stay watching DVD lectures and Bun TV. I'll do me and let the dead do them. Mixing their trees with the cigarette blend. I'll do me and let the dead do them, accepting a slave brand to identify them. The dead will do them like they've always done. Won't change unless in front the barrel of a gun. Won't change though Barack said it's that time. Youths killing each other, same content in their rhyme. Rappers mislead, situations critical. When we write that spelling, spells are rituals. You might think not, I suggest every thought that you think should be done very careful before you give me an earful. My reply, the kind to make your ears tearful. Stomach butterflies won't wonder why. Just accept the message from me from the Most High. That's why most die, cause they don't listen. Nicene Council Conference made you a Christian. Wicked Khalees got circling Kaaba fictions. All law is from my heart, they say black Egyptian. Causing separations and black divisions. Brown faces frontline on attack missions. The plot thickens, but it's thin perceptions. Got them spending less time on jewelry than inception. Voting for candidates whose motive direction is to keep us at risk in priority sections and make us have an altered perception. Decepticons got Autobots with deceptions. Let the dead do them and I'll just do me. My order of the day is still nationality. Let the dead do them, I'll just do me. Stay watching DVD lectures and Bun TV. I'll do me and let the dead do them, mixing their trees with the cigarette blend. I'll do me and let the dead do them, accepting a slave brand to identify them.
I get emotional, under the pressure of the oppressor. We got the tools to make everything better. We only got, so let's join together.
Gone are the days of some rest. Where are the days of less stress? Where are the days of calm unification? Fez and Turban, the whole nation.
Yeah. You know, we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheik, Cujo L, Iron Sheik. Yeah. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Great COS adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheep? Got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said?
I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors.
Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Taj Tariq Bey taught the world don't respect you. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mob Deep. Condolences, QB, RIP Prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you Sarahite, trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabir Bey knows Moorish Master MC. Fruquan Bey and Daddy IU are on some Moorish degrees. Spraga and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the global planets, hip-hop astronauts, Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers, to higher than other senses, to still pick up the frequency, pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady, cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me petty. Also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown, video feathers like I said to do. Initiate invasions, activate outdoors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and muftis for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? We are Moors. We are Moors. What up, X? Yo. You two trolls catch my scimitar blade and turn snitch. Your man is your dog and your homegirl a bitch. Inquisition lies turn high priestess to witch. Burned at the stake, cooked like fish Escovitch. COINTELPRO are not pros but rookies. TikTok program makes young girls shake their cookies. Transgenders wanna be called proper pronouns. D-Wade's son turned daughter, pawn of the order. Used for the rituals, niggas wearing capris. Slam dunk champ shorts are way above his knees. By yourself with 3 masks on, that's a disease. Most of y'all are crack fiends for vaccines, giving passes to perv clones like Weinstein. While in your favorite actor had property on Epstein Island. Hollywood Kazaj, tribe of 13 wizards, blowing lies make visibility pour like blizzards. With sins greater than 55 miles per hour, stupidity will surely get your minds devoured. Using your soul to quench the thirst of diabolic devils, then ignorance would rise past hyperbolic levels. Are you thinking, or is your mind controlled? Are you blinking, or is your first eye closed? Will you think and save yourself or fall victim? Will you fight back or keep getting your face kicked in? Are you thinking, or is your mind controlled? Are you blinking, or is your first eye closed? Will you think and save yourself or fall victim? Will you fight back or keep getting your face kicked in?
I put your head on the water and show you what's important. You need ear, of course, a Moor will appear. Anywhere I stand, Morocco is there. So no matter where I stand, my rights will be clear. The law of the land signed by the air. Ooh, the true air. Ownership, caught up in color, you disown the ship. A black star with black people in it. Ship gone away before Julie boarded it. That's a smart plan by some hybrids. But the birds still fly with a message, a flag of culture, heritage, American Republic. Feeling like Carthage, you driving cars, I'm riding elephants. You're thinking nothing relevant. Black before every statement, you're an agent. Need I say more? I'm in 7-Eleven. You're thinking corner stores, human rights declared, but how they corner yours?
Are you thinking, or is your mind controlled? Are you blinking, or is your first eye closed? Will you think and save yourself or fall victim? Will you fight back or keep getting your face kicked in? Are you thinking, or is your mind controlled? Are you blinking, or is your first eye closed? Will you think and save yourself or fall victim? Will you fight back or keep getting your face kicked in?
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick. Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gate Cemetery, February the 4th day, Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes similar to a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Salt Bay, repping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. Had no but do I lay in plain sight, but people still can't see it, so the snake's still showing up. Stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death dip in slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astro plane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life. Finish him.
Moorish or Moor, key man or oracle. Using trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost and metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts slap a dirty Moor or a Drew Ali critic. Calling
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common sense quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th days. Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day. Independence and law makes civil a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho. Keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm Rey Mysterio. Fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains. I'm Rob Bass, mixing with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state. Prophets stood me up right, brought me to a lost gate. Cooking like I'm Salt Bay, prepping like I'm Denzel. Malcolm X, Deja Vu, Roman J. Israel. Had no but I lay in plain sight, but people still can't see it. So the snake's still showing up, the stakes still high, so the race still going up. Warriors of the North Gate, we not slowing up. Born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death dip in slavery. Looking for light, the book of Genesis. Astroplane entrances, invoke the nemesis. Abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life. Finish him.
Moorish or Moor, key man or oracle. Using trinity powers, decipher allegorical. Lost and metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Fact slap a dirty Moor or a Drew Ali critic. Calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave. Drowned in my brainwaves, squashed by heat waves. Activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini. Selassie I in exile. Reptile in Genesis, niggas appearing real. All I see is false evidence. DA are feminists, stomped on by elephants. More like no prejudice, but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the cold magnetic resonance. Apis horns of the sacred book, all maleficent. Great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness, no pestilence. Ace all the testaments. Tap into remembrance, never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men. Wandering the earth plane with no they live shades. Keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades. Not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets. Holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday. War ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors present Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try?
To whom it may concern. Just because I worked in the same field for 10 years doesn't mean it's what
To have the two-time NBA champion here. Keep the applause going right now. The NBA Finals MVP, 12 times NBA All-Star. Keep the applause going, ladies and gentlemen. The 12-time NBA All-Star was named to the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams. Keep the applause going. But what appealed to me most is that even though I saw him on these big stages, I related to him. I think watching him play the game of basketball was like a metaphor for life. He wasn't the biggest man on the court ever. He probably wasn't the highest paid player on the court ever. He was probably someone that a lot of people doubted, didn't think that he'll be able to accomplish the things he's done ever and go as far as he's gone ever. When you mention his name now, you got to mention his name amongst the elite greats of all time when it comes to basketball altogether, but he represented the hood to us. When we used to get out on that basketball court playing on that concrete, it was certain names that we would yell out. Who are you? Isaiah. Boom.
Did you make the shot, though?
Absolutely. Every time. Zeke. Boom.
I mean, you shot it, but did you make it?
Well, it didn't matter, but I had to. He didn't make every shot. But I want to welcome him. His son has graced our airways plenty of times. Yep. But we always ask about his dad. But I want to welcome you to this show for all that you do and all that you represent, especially what you represent for the players, what you represent for the game of basketball, but outside of the court, what you represent. I don't know if we ever know how many people we inspire when we're in the public eye and when we're so-called celebrities. But you gave a lot of people hope and you gave a lot of people fight. And by your success, you made a lot of people believe that they can achieve success. Please welcome Isaiah Thomas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Isaiah.
Activism is part of,
that's a part of who you are.
Yeah, that's the family business. And, during that time, again, on the west side of Chicago, you had, Noble Drew Ali, you had at Noble Drew Ali, at Noble Drew Ali, at Noble Drew Ali. You had Nation of Islam. You had the at Noble Drew Ali. You had Nation of Islam. You had the Blackstone Rangers, El Rukins, Black Panther Party. So that's kind of like my DNA in terms of how I grew up and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for nationality, birthrights, and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro, and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro, and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
remember those times?
Remember those times, yeah. Don't call me colored or Negro.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had Negro on my birth certificate. And
I got Negro on my birth certificate.
well, back then they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Can you break down the
God.
knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in during that time, again on the west side of Chicago, you had Noble Drew Ali, you had Nation of Islam, you had the Blackstone Rangers, El Rukins, Black Panther Party. So that's kind of like my DNA in terms of how I grew up and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
remember those times?
Remember those times, yeah. Don't call me colored or Negro.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had Negro on my birth certificate. And
I got Negro on my birth certificate.
well, back then they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Can you break down the
God.
knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in the United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights, in America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights. United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights. And we were in this country, we were said to be not human. So when they took us out of our nationality, they took you out of your humanness and your birthright. And they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Can you break down the
God.
knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in the United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights. And we were in this country, we were said to be not human. So when they took us out of our nationality, they took you out of your humanness and your birthright, right? And they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Can you break
God.
down the knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in the United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights, and we were in this country, we were said to be not human. So when they took us out of our nationality, they took you out of your humanness and your birthright, right? And the first march that happened in Memphis with the um, with the garbage workers, right, in Memphis, right? The sign that they had, that they said, "I am a man," right? You didn't want to be dehumanized, and you didn't want to be taken out of your humanness, and you didn't want to be taken out of the human race. There really was only one race, and it was called the human race.
Human race, yeah.
Right? And then they put us into all these different racial categories. And in these racial categories, you lose your humanness in terms of being recognized as a man. So Negro came in to signify that you were second class citizen in the United States, not first class. And what first class means is that classified as white, you don't have to fight for voting rights, civil rights, or equal rights. We classified as black in America, you're fighting for civil rights, equal rights, voting rights. So there's a second tier that we've always been fighting for, to try to be recognized as equal and as human in this space. So that was the west side of Chicago.
That's how Isaiah Thomas grew up.
It's the family business. And during that time, again, on the west side of Chicago, you had Noble Drew Ali, you had Nation of Islam, you had the Blackstone Rangers, El Rukins, Black Panther Party. So that's kind of like my DNA in terms of how I grew up and what we were fighting for. We were fighting for nationality, birthrights, and believe it or not to be called colored or Negro.
Yeah. Wow.
Remember those times?
Remember those times, yeah. Don't call me colored or Negro.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had Negro on my birth certificate. And
I got Negro on my birth certificate.
Well, back then they told everybody that you had to go change your birth certificate because Negro, if you were called Negro, if that was on your birth certificate, then technically you wasn't a citizen.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Can you
God.
break down the knowledge behind that? Like, why wouldn't you be a citizen?
Because in the United States, of America, right? When you talk about nationality, birthright, citizenship, we're still fighting for voting rights, and we were in this country, we were said to be not human. So when they took us out of our nationality, they took you out of your humanness and your birthright, right? And the first march that happened in Memphis with the with the garbage workers, right, in Memphis, right? The sign that they had, that they said, "I am a man," right? You didn't want to be dehumanized, and you didn't want to be taken out of your humanness, and you didn't want to be taken out of the human race. There really was only one race, and it was called the human race.
Human race, yeah.
Right? And then they put us into all these different racial categories. And in these racial categories, you lose your humanness in terms of being recognized as a man. So Negro came in to signify that you were second class citizen in the United States, not first class. And what first class means is that classified as white, you don't have to fight for voting rights, civil rights or equal rights. We classified as Black in America. You're fighting for civil rights, equal rights, voting rights. So there's a second tier that we've always been fighting for to try to be recognized as equal and as human in this space. So that was the west side of Chicago.
That's how Isaiah Thomas grew up. I love this, man.
Wow.
Shit.
Deep.
Come on, man. I love this. I
Peace, Moors. Islam to all the Moors. It looks like Lord had to do it again on them. Lord had to do it again on them. So honors to Zeke for repping on Sway, for Noble Drew Ali, the Moors status and everything Moors been talking about. Wasn't even shy, said it all. Honors. That's why study. That's all. Just go study. Find this stuff out. You'll find it out. And that was just the intro. Here we go.
At Farrakhan having banquets with the Jews. Madam X, the founder of the Occult Science Temple in 1934 in Detroit, Michigan. On the heels of Noble Drew Ali, Nation of Islam, Fruit of Islam, Nation of Islam. But first you see Madam X. So this is the first, what you would say, I guess, long lost X, Madam X for the Nation of Islam. But we know Malcolm X, but then he found out the X, as far as being unknown and not knowing who your ancestors was, he knew that was BS. He received his gnosis and he was El Hajj Malik Shabazz, El. Ali was tested on his gnosis and found out that he was an adept born and he was a prophet. Ali, honor your foremothers and forefathers. But we're also going to get into Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, who set up his mosque in Detroit as well. And the Jews assisted him in that, just like NOI stands real close beside the Jews in these days and times. We have
Islam. Amexam Almanac.
Islam, Grand Sheikh. Can you hear me?
Islam. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Islam, honors to all the Moors.
Islam. I wanted to just because you put Mufti Sadiq in that video that you had, I wanted to put this one out, and then I'm going to continue with the video because it just hit me again when I heard it. So I'm just going to put this out, and then I'm just going to play the video again, and then we'll discuss some stuff.
Islam.
This is Islam, in the African American experience, page 143. This is an individual by the name of Manir Hamid, and he was one of these Ahmadiyya movement people. In 1961, I went back to Philadelphia. The largest group was Elijah Muhammad's group. The most militant Muslims were on the East Coast. We didn't give into negativism with them. We just remained aloof of them. Most of the people in Ahmadiyya were all from the 1920s and 30s. They were not involved in nationalism, loyal to America. But I was younger, involved in the Black Panthers and all the nationalism. We like to say that Elijah Muhammad was influenced by Mufti Muhammad Sadiq. There is a photograph that exists of Elijah Muhammad and Mufti Muhammad Sadiq sitting together on stage with Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey. That's Richard Brent Turner
Islam and the African American experience?
Well, as I always say, when you look into the Ahmadiyya pamphlets, the Muslim Sunrise, you see it says the salvation of the American Negro. They're never going to tell you the nationality, never. And then you get into Nation of Islam and they give you the X, the unknown, the lost tribe. It all ties in. They don't want you to know them El Bay, Day, Al, and Ali titles. And that's proven fact, brother.
Islam. Let me just get back to this video.
Have the images on the Mexican Almanac, Farrakhan having banquets with the Jews. But here in 1923, Mufti Muhammad Sadiq set up a mosque in Detroit, Michigan, to convert Christians into Mohammedanism. However, we know Noble Drew Ali was already doing that job. But see, within the Muslim Sunrise, as it said then, you see on the cover, it has bullet points of where all their operations are going to be at. See, he was set up and sent by the Jews to subvert and undermine what the Prophet Noble Drew Ali was bringing. In the Muslim Sunrise at that time, it said the salvation of the American Negro. He was labeling him already in his own literature as a Negro. When Noble Drew Ali was already past that, he wasn't bringing you an X or not an explanation. He had El Bay, Day, Al, and Ali. Noble Drew Ali was bringing the true old religion back, the true gnosis, and they was trying to subvert it. All of them was ganging up in Detroit. And the prophet said the grass is going to grow up in Detroit. And Chicago and Detroit got to pay for what they did to your prophet. So all these people was intermingled. But this Madam X, Mary Speedwell, founder of the Occult Science Temple of Detroit, Michigan. I have never heard an NOI member, Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, Fard's literature. I've never heard them speak of this mother. And to be honest, I hold her with more authority than any of them because the mother gives the law and the son enforces. But yet again, she was holding this X. So either she knew and was trying to fool or she didn't know. And I moved to punch in here and speak on this as well. There's the Mary again. Remember on the, I believe it was the second, this is the third video, but on the second video, I believe we was reading through the FBI file where Farrar had two contacts on his prison list, and it was a Mary and it was a Pearl. So I'm gonna go back and see if it was Speedwell, because if it was, then he was directly connected with this Madam X. See, that's where you mess up, Nation of Islam. It's because the Moors, they study, because we want the gnosis and the art and truth so that we can unfold into perfection and be just so that repentance may be forgotten. My will is not what leads me to this information. Like before I study, you know, Allah, my protector, my guide, and my salvation. When I pray the Moorish prayer, then I go study, Allah is going to guide me to this art. The Occult Science Temple, with offices at 4698 Harding Avenue, is making preparation for a unique program of occult science demonstrations at the Lucy Thurman branch of the YWCA. Was Speedwell, because if it was, then he was directly connected with this Madam X. See, that's where you mess up, Nation of Islam. It's because the Moors, they study, because we want the gnosis and the art and truth so that we can unfold into perfection and be just so that repentance may be forgotten. My will is not what leads me to this information. Like before I study, you know, Allah, my protector, my guide, and my salvation. When I pray the Moorish prayer, then I go study. Allah is going to guide me to this art.
Islam. Just want to touch on that part right there. Allah guiding you. So from how are you taking that you can receive this message, but Asiatics can't get this basic thing?
I always go back to, I was an orphan, so I'm I always observed, and I was always real quiet, and I never was judgmental. I always kept things equal. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, you know, I'm a present day Lazarus because Noble Drew Ali raised a pale-skinned European from the dead. You know, you have to basically almost be dead before you find this out. You have to go into the dirt and be in darkness with your seed in darkness But you have to you got to reach for the light. And if they don't want to reach for the light, brother, then I guess they wasn't reaching for the light back then. But they're going to have to recycle, and eventually they're going to have to get it.
Yeah.
But if they don't get it this time, then they'll get it. Well, Noble Drew Ali said this is about the last time. So you better get it now.
Exactly. Was there anything else before I play the rest of this? Because I think
I yield the floor. I yield the floor. Honors to all the brothers and sisters. Islam, divine honors the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Islam, Grand Sheikh Cujo.
These more.
The Occult Science Temple, with offices at 4698 Harding Avenue, is making preparation for a unique program of occult science demonstrations at the Lucy Thurman branch of the YWCA, corner of St. Antoine and Elizabeth Street, on Thursday night, June 14th at 8:30. The special feature on the evening program will be Madam X, who, while in a dead trance, will answer questions, call names, and carry out many other performances within the field of the occult. The proceeds of the program are for the benefit of the new institution, I bet, Nation of Islam, the Spiritual Health Temple, which is designed to be a home for convalescents. The Occult Science Temple is a religious organization established for the development of the occult and spiritualism according to MMA Mary E. Speedwell, its founder and gilding head. Officers of the organization are Miss F. Hardiman, President Miss Alice Taylor, and A.W. Stone, Treasurer. So let me get this straight. An X was answering your questions while in a dead trance. You got that right, and they're doing it to this day as well. They're answering your questions while in a dead trance, feeding you pig snout soup. That's what the Grand Sheikh said. Y'all eating pig snout soup. But I want to go back to Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, because within that newspaper, it speaks of, he gives a theme of what Jesus would answer to the immigration officer if he came to North America. And it's interesting because he speaks on nationality and of his last so-called name and everything. And he really gives it away, man, that they was not bringing you the gnosis that Noble Drew Ali was. Because remember, Nation of Islam stated Noble Drew Ali didn't have enough knowledge in Islam to keep it going. But Noble Drew Ali had way more superior gnosis, and it is clear because they were saying X. They didn't even have the divine ancient titles back to the land, to the birthrights, to divine and earthly salvation. Immigration officer, please raise your hand and take an oath that all you say will be true. Jesus, I do not believe in taking oaths. It is not right. Straight gassing it to the circle 7 right there. Don't give oaths because it spreads shame upon your face. What is your name? Jesus. What is your first name? This is my first name. What is your second name? I have no second name. This is my only name. Now, you know, Jesus said, honor your foremothers and forefathers so that your days may be what? Long upon the earth plane. So you know that he had his ancestors' appellation. This is showing that they don't know or they're trying to hold it from you. They was trying to build you into that X. What is your father's name? I have no father. Funny, how were you born? Miraculously, without a father. You have Jesus right here dishonoring his forefathers right here. We know Joseph was his father. I found this image with the turban and fez of Joseph. Now, I'm not saying that he was this pale, but I'm just saying we know that his feet was like burner brass and hair like lamb's wool. But nonetheless, miraculously, without a father. What is funny to you is right with God. Could you tell me how Adam was born without a father and without a mother? I do not know. What is your nationality? I am a Jew. What did Ali say? Woe to those who call themselves who? Yeah, this was set up by the Jews. Do you believe in the law of Moses, which allows polygamy? Surely I do. Whoever shall break the least of the commandments of the law of Moses, he shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven. Why are your hands pierced? Because I was unjustly nailed to the cross, which is Jesus's justice. What is your profession? I am a preacher of God word. See, they're putting Jesus into a Europeanized, and you can tell that this is the Ahmadiyya movement is being pushed by the Jew, because the Jews make a lot of finance from all of the, when the Christians came into Jerusalem, they made a lot of finance through all the celebrations where the Christians copied the Pentecost. Every 50 years, the Jews have it, but the Christians took it on and celebrated every year. So whenever they would come to them temples, they would always celebrate. They would get their finance, and the Jews, they made a lot of what? Let's look into the glossary of the Moorish words. Mazunas. Them Jews is after the Mazuna. The Nation of Islam is after the Mazunas. The Fruit of Islam, all of these people, man, all these so-called conscious people that ain't in the Moorish Science Temple or don't have any of the Moorish Science Gnosis and don't speak of nationality as the order of the day, they're after your Mazunas, a Moorish coin. So what's the conclusion that I have in regards to this Mary who established the Occult Science Temple in Detroit 5 years after Noble Drew Ali passed? Well, I see Mary comes up a lot. Like with Noble Drew Ali's marriage license, with that Mary, Noble Drew Ali specifically said, don't go and buy your wife from the European. But after Noble Drew Ali passed, what would they need to access his inheritance? A marriage license. So Madam X, Detroit, 1934, founder of the Occult Science Temple of Detroit, Michigan. So this was the first X, man, and she established it. So basically, you could say she established the Nation of Islam. I don't hear none of the NOI speaking about this mother. So they don't know how to preserve, and they definitely don't know how to study, man. I ain't seen it in any literature I've seen, but I don't get into their literature because anytime I read it, I automatically see Noble Drew Ali in it. So I go to the original Gnosis, which is the Moorish Science Temple of America's literature from Noble Drew Ali. So I'm gonna now go pull the Articles of Incorporation of the Occult Science Temple of Detroit, Michigan, and see who all's nomins is on it. You know what I mean? Because I'm just opening up every door. So when I say this could be Noble Drew Ali's wife, Mary, or it could be an inheritor and they was using her, I don't know, man, but I'm gonna open up every door and look around. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna go pull this Article of Incorporation. It said that they was organized as a religious organization, and all of them was doing exactly what Noble Drew Ali was doing, but doing it in a de facto way. It's a perfect sense of how to know what is de jure and de facto, and think of Nation of Islam and what this Madam X, Farrakhan was bringing. It's the de facto Moorish Science Temple. I just looked online and I see that some people did mention Madam X, like Patrick Bowen has it in one of his books on Brill.com, but it doesn't have the image of the mother. So I have the image for you. So that's a favor for you, Nation of Islam. That's like your long lost Madam X that you don't never speak about because she copied Ali. Then there's another reference, Occult Science by Steiner Rudolph. The price for that book is 450 notes. The PDF I was telling you about with Patrick Bowen, that's 45 notes. I got to speak on this. Like I always say, in regards to the Europeans, Patrick Bowen, Peter Moon, Peter Lamborn Wilson, all these Europeans, all the notes, all the Mazunas they made off of their books, how much of that did they put back into the Moorish nation? You know what I mean? How much work and how much dedication and study time do they have in regards to the Moors? This man's asking 45 Mazunas for his PDF. Like this year, I put out 2 books, and they're my books. I asked 5 notes apiece, 5 Mazunas. And then I had people comment saying, I'm asking for finance, but I made the 2 booklets and I asked for 5 Mazunas. The herbs booklet, your ancestors' list of herbs that they took in 1876, the Moor's Herbs booklet of 1876, and the Moorish Children's Story. So Little Green Star and the Moorish Herbs booklet, your ancestors' list of herbs that they used to heal themselves with naturopathic remedies. Both of them I put out this year. So I'm going to ask for my Mazunas, man, because these Europeans are asking 45 notes for the PDF. It's on the site for 5 Mazunas. Peace and love. 40.
Peace and love. Like going back to Richard Brent Turner, Islam in the African American Experience. The Strange Peddler. Late in the summer of 1930, a door-to-door peddler of silks and of Asian and African wares appeared in Paradise Valley, a predominantly Black community in Detroit. Although his racial and ethnic identity is still a mystery, many of the ghetto dwellers believed him to be an Arab or Palestinian. This strange yellow-complexioned man was known alternately as Mr. Fard Muhammad, Professor Fard, Mr. Wali Fard, or Mr. F.M. Ali. F.M. Ali, 1930, F.M. Ali. Let's see where this goes. Sometime during the early part of his mission, W.D. Fard revealed himself as a prophet who had a startling message of African American identity and destiny. Mr. F.M. Ali, the prophet. Mr. F.M. Ali, the prophet, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. I have another one for you. Very interesting.
Peace and greetings. Today's demonstration will be the Allah Tan Holy Science Temple of Islam. And as you see in the upper right corner, FJE, Freedom, Justice, and Equality, which is Nation of Islam. You see the unity hand, which Noble Drew Ali used. But in this document, it speaks of the same wording of Noble Drew Ali, where he speaks of Negro according to science, meaning death, honors to Ali. But we'll go ahead and go through this. Allah Tan Holy Science Temple of Islam. We are inviting you and your family and friends to visit the temple. You will be wise to visit the Holy Temple of Islam. My brothers and sisters, you have been asleep long enough. Now is the time for you to wake up. Our supreme God Allah declares that we must turn to our nation of people. We have only one way to turn to our nation, by accepting the religion of Islam. Islam means peace. Can a human being be a Negro? No. Why? Because science gives the word Negro death. Colored is something varnished, painted, stained, or dyed. Spanish gives the word Negro a black. That being be a Negro? No. Why? Because science gives the word Negro death. Colored is something varnished, painted, stained, or dyed. It speaks of the same wording of Noble Drew Ali, where he speaks of Negro according to science, meaning death, honors to Ali. But we'll go ahead and go through this. Allah Tan Holy Science Temple of Islam. We are inviting you and your family and friends to visit the temple. You will be wise to visit the Holy Temple of Islam. My brothers and sisters, you have been asleep long enough. Now is the time for you to wake up. Our supreme God Allah declares that we must turn to our nation of people. We have only one way to turn to our nation, by accepting the religion of Islam. Islam means peace. Can a human being be a Negro? No. Why? Because science gives the word Negro death. Colored is something varnished, painted, stained, or dyed. Spanish gives the word Negro a black. That means anything black. Here we go. The Moorish named the river that runs through West Africa because it contains black water. What is meant by a word Ethiopia? This is anything black. Here we go. The Moorish named the river that runs through West Africa because it contains black water. What is meant by a word Ethiopia? This is all Noble Drew Ali's literature. Freedom, justice, equality. This is Elijah Muhammad now. Ethiopia means something divided. Look at this. These so-called Negroes, descendants of Morocco, of the Moorish Morocco tribe of West Africa. So he told you there's no anything black. Here we go. The Moorish named the river that runs through West Africa because it contains black water. What is meant by word Ethiopia? This is all Noble Drew Ali's literature. Freedom, justice, equality. This is Elijah Muhammad now. Ethiopia means something divided. Look at this. These so-called Negroes, descendants of Morocco, of the Moorish Morocco tribe of West Africa. So he told you there's no lost tribe. There's no X, there's no unknown. They knew this from the beginning right here. They told you. Look, it says love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Look, right before the Musum. Look, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that's freedom, justice, and equality at the top right. This is Elijah Muhammad. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Descendant Moroccans of the Moorish Morocco tribe of West Africa, which we know a lot of the princes got took from up there and brought here, but we know that they was going navigating L's from here to there everywhere. But yeah, the Muslim want everyone to study about the religion of Islam. What is the modern name of the Garden of Eden? Mecca. Your messenger, brother Abraham Lomo Mohammed El. So there you go. That shows that the Moors had L's inside of the Nation of Islam, what is called today. Now, hold on. This is Elijah Muhammad. You see that freedom, justice, equality, and there's freedom, justice, and equality at the top right. This is Elijah Muhammad. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Descendant Morocco tribe of West Africa. So he told you there's no lost tribe. There's no X, there's no unknown. They knew this from the beginning right here. They told you. Look, it says love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Look, right before the Musum. Look, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And that's freedom, justice, and equality at the top right. This is Elijah Muhammad. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Descendant Moroccans of the Moorish Morocco tribe of West Africa, which we know a lot of the princes got took from up there and brought here, but we know that they was going navigating L's from here to there everywhere. But yeah, the Muslim want everyone to study about the religion of Islam. What is the modern name of the Garden of Eden? Mecca. Your messenger, brother Abraham Lomo Mohammed El. So there you go. That shows that the Moors had L's inside of the Nation of Islam. What is
Now, I don't know what more you people need, but we're going to keep giving you whatever it is you think you need to wake the hell up to what the point is. Because people always have this thing, oh my gosh, she's still upset. Because our people are done for if they don't wake the hell up. There's no options. People who know what nationality is and don't talk about nationality anymore, don't think that they dropped their stuff. In the background is some safe or whatever, guarantee they got their paperwork and their card and all that stuff in there. While they're out here playing black games. We just showed you Isaiah telling you again. You know, Islam more.
Islam, Noble. Grand Sheikh. Yeah, I really wanna go in, Noble, like on the situation at hand, because just like we said before, you know what I mean, the Nation of Islam was a fraction that came out of the Moor Science Temple. It came out of the Prophet's teachings. So when these people do these certain things of trying to deny the teaching and try to deny that Noble Drew Ali and what he tried to do, what Farrakhan had said, you know, this is a smack in the face. And Allah always reveal. He's the best revealer. So we got to look at it as the messenger before everybody else. They want to say, oh yeah, they want to give emphasis on, you know, what's his name, Wallace Ford L as Wallace D Muhammad. So all this is just coming into fruition as far as the truth is in plain sight now, and people cannot deny it because Moors have receipts and we have factual receipts. It's nothing that these people could say, well, you know, just like Farrakhan said, well, what the prophet? Nah, because how did Muhammad Ali get his nationality?
How he get it?
Yeah, how he get it?
How he get it?
Yeah, how he get it? They don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about they don't want to go there, because if they go there, that means then they have to reveal, okay, their whole infrastructure. And you know, once you look at the blueprint and you find out, oh, okay, there go the Prophet's foundation right here, then the whole thing collapsed, because now there's no denying. Now you have to revert back to more science. Just like we have all these filthy traders, you know, that I have been researching lately and been getting a very clear understanding on, you know, Gibbons L, you know, the reincarnated prophet, you know, and you know, the certain fractions that they were saying that Dingo L had came to, you know, cease the confusion when they was part of it. So, you know, we have to look at the root, and when you go to the root of things, then you find out, okay, the tree grow from this root, and then these are all the branches coming from this root, from the tree. So, and then when you deny your foundation, that is a smack in the face, no doubt. So we have to look at the simple principles of Timothy Dingle L, and then you have John Givens L. You know what I mean? So the confusion, when they started the confusion, when Sheikh John Givens L proclaimed to be the reincarnated prophet.
Mm-hmm.
And then Timothy Dingle L came in late after everything was established. So he came in 1925 and then quickly became an ADAP. So that was like a 4-year span that you quickly became an ADAP, and you are manifesting everything with the prophet's lessons because you sat at the feet of John Givens L, right? And then when you look at their plaques, and you look at the prophet's plaque, and then you look at John Givens L's plaque, and you know, you want to think to yourself like, wait a minute, hold on. You know, what is this? So we have to really get a clear picture of the sellout, you know, and look at things for how they really are and why this movement hasn't moved on to where the prophet already predicted it should be by this time. So,
and also too, later on, that's where Dr. York got his authority with the Quran.
Right.
Being able to put out the hardcover Quran for the Nuwapians.
Yes, you're absolutely correct, Rashid. So we're gonna have to just.
It's a succession of treasonous activity on the side of the Moorish, where you have the Kirkman Bay, the Givens L, and then you have all these sects or whatever. Everybody's straying away from Noble Drew Ali. And then the outside people who were NOI and Hebrew Israelites and everybody else that, you know, Black Negro and whatever, that it didn't matter what they called themselves.
Right. Because there wasn't nationalizing on the principles of what the prophet brought. So even though they had the knowledge, you know what I mean, and they had the degrees to a certain extent, there was not going to the foundational principles of civics, learning law, learning who you are, learning all the mathematical principles, the scientific, well, not the certificate, but the scientific principles of more science too. So that goes within the study of finding who you are, and then studying the principles of what the prophet brought, and then you go into the studies of from his studies into all other studies that reflect off what he brought.
Yeah.
And then from there you analyze these certain events, these certain topics, the political escheat that's behind it, and the usurpation that's behind it, and then you understand, okay, that's what happened. Because now, in this day and time, as far as the possibilities of what we could be doing now, and the 2000, where the prophet said that we should be coming into our own, we should have been taken off, you know, because now everything that's coming into play as far as revealing some of the things that the prophet did and what was done to the movement, then to the certain things that's going down within the legislation in Congress, as far as, you know, what happened as far as the affirmative action. You know, so things are moving quickly and on schedule as what the prophet already has prophesied and what Moorish has been saying for years.
Mm-hmm.
So what the people don't get, the prophet left left the title to Emiliel, Supreme Grand Sheikh, to carry out his orders.
Easy as that.
Right. So when all these others came and they started this conflict, they started the schisms, you know what I mean? It seems like it was all orchestrated and planned. Which the prophet already know that was gonna go down that way.
Yeah.
So things have to be carried out now for the greater good for humanity. Because if we don't carry out those things for the greater good of humanity, then we're gonna reap the wrath of Allah. And I don't know why these people don't understand that.
No, then they never will. They haven't understood it since I came into this, and that's 08.
Yeah.
They haven't understood yet. So it's really about those who know.
All right.
You know, that's why the theme is, you know, the boat has left the dock, because you can't save people if they don't want to be saved.
Right.
Let them get whatever they're gonna get. No, let them look back and turn to salt.
Right. Because the prophet already warned that too. He said that most of you is gonna have to get prepared when you didn't expect that you was gonna get prepared. Like, so start getting prepared now. So when the day do come, you know what I mean, you already have a sense of what to do. You know, as far as our people though, they don't grasp certain things as far as, you know, instruction, because they think that some things are gimmicks, you know, and you know, so they'll look at it and it's like, nah, that's not that can't be possible. But sometimes you have to take things from a perspective of, what if it was that case scenario? Let's go with it. You see what I'm saying? Prepare yourself. Because you have all these people, these characters that's out here, that's trying to, you know, keep your attention on bull crap.
Yeah,
Totally.
they have agendas.
Yeah.
They have agendas.
Totally bull crap. Just like you got all these guys with the battling going on with Tariq Nasheed, and you know, you have, you know, Michael Novak, you know, in his situation, aka Polite.
Even
Then you got
Riza Islam, his stuff just got dismissed. All the Medicare fraud and all that stuff got dismissed, right?
well, right,
And
well,
but you know, people aren't paying attention to the fact that when they were doing the trial, he was talking about they don't got jurisdiction, and he's challenging the status and all that stuff.
right, but still constantly use the term black.
But still call
Now,
people black, right?
yeah, yeah, but
Remember,
that's what I'm.
it was news that he was doing this. He was doing the sovereign citizen stuff,
Right.
saying that he's Moorish.
Right. And then remember the meeting that he had with Brother Jamal, you know, and he was talking about Morocco here, and you know,
Yep.
and as far as the Moors, and then but he still continued to use the term black. So we have to look at the certain narrative of using black. We have to try to take that out of our vocabulary, because we already know, as far as the scientific significance of using that term, which is dead. That's why they turn around and say you're Negro, because negro is still black in Spanish. So our people have to understand certain specifics as far as law, and that's why, you know, things are moving swiftly in the Asiatic favor, because if they will move more swifter, if our people will get an understanding to ground themselves within, you know, the prophet's knowledge as far as what his lessons, and really try to put yourself in his shoes when he was out here really doing certain things that he was trying to uplift our people with.
Doing the work.
Right.
Which is the point. You know, the work has to get done. Well, it's only going to
Absolutely.
be if Moors do it. It ain't getting done any other way. So, are you down with doing the work, or are we just gonna be here, doing what we could do, the best of what we got?
Right.
You know what I mean? This is on the people who are working.
Right.
These are the people who aren't working. These are the passive people. Right?
Yep.
Ones who know about their nationality and birthrights, but not doing anything with it, not supporting anything, but they're gonna go support some other stuff out there that has nothing to do with them being Moors.
Right. As either gonna put them back in slavery or whatever. You know, that's why Moors have to stay focused as far as what their nationality and birthright entail and details. Because as far as Moorish Americans, what the prophet brought, he already declared that we was a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
It's already in the Library of Congress, and that's why, you know, the sovereign citizen movement thing was propaganda that was put forth by the SPLC as far as slanderment and a scare tactic, and as far as an interrogation tactic to stop organized Moors, or even trying to assemble to do certain things to really uplift their situations. Because when you get into the history of what Moors was doing back in the day, when the prophet was here, man, Noble, oh man, it's like mind blowing. So, and then we went from what the prophet did and how Moors was liberating themselves and having businesses doing certain things, to now what we're looking at now. then the whole FBI, J. Edgar Hoover, the try to stop the rise of a black messiah. See, they already put quote unquote black on that. They didn't say messiah. They just said dead messiah in actuality. That they're gonna interrogate, probe, listen to, and then kill. Because that's the whole term of using black male. The whole term is the science of it. It's really putting a target on Moor's back. So, do we really want to still use these brands? And I ain't talking about Nike neither. So, as far as the provisions of being who we are, we have to adhere and have responsibilities to ourselves and to our nation. Period. So, Grand Street, that's why the studying, the comprehension, and then the applying is something serious when it comes to this, because they say, well, Moors, they become like they going into hermit season or whatever. They don't want to socialize like that. Well, it's not about socializing. It's about having the right time to socialize and speaking when it's time to speak. Dropping seeds. So those certain seeds will resonate. So next time you might see me was like, yeah, man, I listened to what you had said, and I went and looked that up, and then we might have further conversations. You know what I'm saying, Moore?
Right. This one is an excerpt from the 2005 Moorish Guide newspaper.
Right.
With, the Moors near New Jersey, Grand Chic Nature, and those Moors. About deception and misrepresentation. Honest historians, instructors, scholars, and Moorish Americans in general know that early on 1920s within the Moorish movement, quasi-government agents feigned an allegiance to the movement for purposes of subversion. Such pseudo-members have historically infiltrated the Moorish movement with the intentions of trying to disqualify Noble Drew Ali and the movement. Some of those same personality types and characters are still active in these days, claiming that Noble Drew Ali did not direct the Moors to help him in his mission to bring our people, Moors, back into the constitutional fold of government. These same agents with central and federal have traditionally lied about and negatively criticized those who are active and encouraging Moors to take their place among the affairs of men. Many of the constitutionally active Moors have been active members of the Great Seal National Association of Moorish Affairs. Other planted agents and pseudo-members have conspired to rob and to misappropriate the finances and thus disrupt the cohesive operations of the movement, etc. Whenever such culprits make reference to or write about Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish movement, most will maliciously present false concepts, distort the aims of the movement, or write misrepresentative information. Thusly, anyone who commands the enforcement of the Constitution in harmony with Noble Drew Ali for the social and political governance of the United States of America would be and can expect to be negatively portrayed by such agents or entities operating for the colorable corporate state and federal usurpers. However, we active Moors are diligent and recognize that there has been and there will be opposition. There can be and there will be opposition. The birthrights and resources of the Moors are at stake. Our offspring and families are at stake. Moors must never forget that our land has been colonized and that our people have been falsely branded as Negroes, blacks, and colored folks, etc. We must go back to the state of mind of our ancient mothers and fathers and study our ancient and divine principles of government. Allah is leading on, and victory is assured. The Moabites Moors are the founders of civilization, the founders of religion, the original organic truth systems for the supports of religion. Moors are the founders of the study of the laws of nature and the philosophies, and the founders of civil principles of government. To this day, these and other civilization-orienting systems still govern the universe. We have no doubt that our active position commanding the enforcement of the Constitution for this republic is correct and on point. The Constitution was adopted from the ancient laws of those same founders of civilization. The law ancient, will have to be enforced in order to save the nation. Peace on earth and goodwill to all men. Our prophet explicitly specified that nationality is the order of the day. Furthermore, if you are not careful, your own brothers will try to put you in slavery. The government is behind me, and I must get behind you, for I must uphold and enforce the law. My mission is to save you Moors. Moorish Guide.
Yeah, absolutely.
2005. Islam, Brother Tariq.
Islam, Grand Sheik, Islam, brother.
Islam.
Yeah, I'm just, I didn't want nothing at all. I just chimed in just because you sent the invite, so I just get back on there. So, you know how I am. If it's there, I'm here. So I'm here anyway. I stay in the backstage, but I did want to make a comment. Because I heard the brother talking about it earlier with the video you were playing. He made reference to the notes and the fiat that some are charging for XYZ, whatever it is, whatever it may be, or whatever. I've said that from the jump, and I feel the exact same way that brother feels. Like, if I put something out, that's me sharing the information, because whatever way I got it, I'm not charging nobody for my intellectual nothing. I got whatever I got, and I'm sharing the information. Now, if I decide to become an award-winning author and print and have 11 million books that I'm going to put out there, yes, I'll start collecting fiat, because that'll be my means to feed myself and stuff like that. But I've said that from the jump. If you got this information, for example, I know I catch some flack from this, but I don't care. For example, if I know a process that works, whether it be, i.e., exercising the right to travel, or adverse repossession, or tax exempt, whatever it is, if I know that process, I'm going to share, and it has worked for me, and I didn't have no issue, no problem, no nothing with it. I'm going to share it with the people, because I don't want nobody else to have an issue with it. I'm going to tell you how I did it, what steps I did to get by, why I didn't have a problem, what happened when I did this or whatever. Freely. No price tag on it or nothing. Am I wrong for having that mindset, or is that how it's supposed to be?
Right. That's
and I think that's where a lot of people got it fucked. Excuse my language, they just got it fucked up.
Yeah.
I look at it like this, Noble. you know, I know a man is worth is higher, but at the same time, though, like you said, once you create something and you know that, it's gonna benefit the people, what I mean, you put a set of price on it, so it won't be hurting their pockets or whatever. And then the people will come and deal with you anyway. They're still gonna come and deal with you because you will have a nice, well, I ain't gonna say price, but you have an affordable price. And you know what I mean, you're gonna try to sell it to your own people first and let them have the first at it before you just put it out for the public.
Yeah,
So
and even if you put it out like that, then yes, make it affordable. Damn near, if it ain't $3.99, then it should be $1.99 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like make it something like that.
Right, make it affordable. So and then once you make it affordable for your people, and then your people get a crack at it first, then you go ahead and put it in public, and then you put it at a higher volume for other nationalities to acquire. That's how I would do things.
Absolutely. It's like even when we were doing classes or whatever, I was doing classes, and as I was doing them, like you said, I'll use a saying from back in the day: if you build it, they'll come. As I built people coming to the class, more and more people start coming to the class, to the point where they were like, everybody in the class was like, well, we're going to put a donation plate together, since we know it ain't free to do this up here, somebody got to be paying for it. No, fuck no, I'm not wealthy by no stretch of nobody's imagination, but I got it. I'm doing this for us, so I got it. Don't trip. Don't worry about nothing. I got the bottled water. I got the plates, the cups. I got all. Don't worry about nothing, because I felt like that would bring on he just taking money and he doing it, and I wasn't doing it for none of that shit at all. I didn't want none of that. I'm doing this because I want to do it. I'm glad y'all here.
Right.
But that's the different. Those are the different. The different types of involvement that people have when they get into it. You know what I mean? Some people's involvement is, I have my paper, my card, and I don't need to be around the Moors. I'm just going to go over here and go be a Moor. You know what I mean? And then there's people like yourself, like how you're talking, like, well, yo, what do you mean? If it's for the Moors, then I'm all in 100. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, why would I not be? Like you said on your live yesterday. What else I got to do?
Yeah.
Everything else I do outside of this annoys the fuck out of me because I'm around I'm just around some not intelligent people all the time. So I prefer to be, like you said, I don't want to be a hermit. That ain't my mentality and my lifestyle, but it's become, and I've grown into it, and I love being at home by my goddamn self, reading by myself all the time. I don't want to be antisocial, but when I want to be social, I want to be social with like minds,
right,
or those that are achieving to get that like mind mentality. And if you're not, then like we say from Texas, man, get the fuck from around me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I know like the people with the information getting, like there's so much access to so much, right? Where people are even overwhelmed with all this knowledge that they're getting. And then it's so much from so many different angles that aren't really in their best interest.
$1,000%. But that was one of the first lessons I learned along the path. Cujo I learned it from another studious, very studied, and now back active Moor. And that was one of the things he said. He stated, be careful with this knowledge, Moor, because this knowledge drives some of us crazy. And that's literally what he meant, because it's a plethora of knowledge out there, and if you go down the right path, that path is going to continue and continue. Let's say study, study, study.
Yep. Yep. And that's why, as far as, my journey, there's so much like Grand Chico just said, there's a plethora of information. You already know that. We already speaking on it. And you have misinformation too, stuff to distract you. So as far as, as we staying rooted in the Prophet's lessons in the Circle 7 Quran, in the Quran, studying law, there's only one way that we can see certain things, and that's is logical and using common sense quickies. Sheldon L, shout out. but yeah, we just gotta maintain our foundation and what the Prophet brought, and all Moors on this panel, we already know, like, that's the foundation. And anybody else is saying otherwise,
every day.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying though, boo. Like, anybody saying anything else, it's like I don't get them. Like, you don't really subscribe to the Prophet then. You know what I mean? Like, you don't understand what the Prophet really brought you. Because if you really understood what the Prophet brought you, you wouldn't be ill-willed to run your mouth and talk crazy about him in any aspect that you thinking like that.
Yeah.
Because you'll shut your mouth, because now that's just like if I say, oh, fuck Cool Joe or whatever, that ain't no Cool Joe or anything like that, right? And that's one rule in the streets. You don't talk shit about people you don't know unless they engage you. You see what I'm saying? So people got to understand the rules, and now how things are being put in, our social lives now, as far as the movies, the television, then you have the hip hop, which is not hip hop no more, it's rap. Then you have all the vaccinations and all the other stuff that they put and just dump it in our community, drugs, and all the misappropriations, all the misteachings, all the indoctrinations that they just throw and dump on us, because they are
factual information. Like you mentioned about the Prophet. Like I've actually seen it from a quote unquote grand sheep. But I mentioned and stated, standing firmly, hey man, that's cool, you do what you do, whatever, because you wanted to get together and join unions, join groups, whatever. And I mentioned, hey man, well, I follow the Prophet, I'm with Noble Drew. Oh, you should see like you said, if you in this Moorish science movement, quote unquote, and you study Moorish science, you cannot not know who the Prophet is. So if you do, then anything outside of what the Prophet brought should leave and have a bad taste in your mouth. And look at those that came from that have that bad taste in their mouth. I'm a witness to it, to where off of one group now it's, at last count, now it's 3 completely different groups out of one group. And none of them are putting the Prophet up front. Their fucking ego is in front. Literally, nothing else.
Right.
And they think that's the righteous way. That's the way to be. And their way is the right way.
And then not just to cut your wisdom, Noble, but they want to debate too, like debate Noble Moors and try to make us and shun us, make us go somewhere. You know what I mean? Oh, what temple you registered to, and oh, you're not from this temple, and
Oh no, but see, but that's where I differ greatly. More, that's where I differ greatly from a lot of them. I've even spoke with Cujo about this. I differ greatly. I'm brash with it. I got big nuts. No, you ain't gonna push me no way. This is where I'm at, and this is what it is. If you ain't with this, then we don't have to be together, and I'll go my way, you go your way.
Right.
Because there ain't no room for. That's why we're in the situation that we in. Because of that. I saw that early on. I don't take no parts in none of that tomfoolery, I call it. I ain't got time for that shit.
Right.
It's gonna be one way, the straight path, or it ain't gonna be with me.
Yeah. And that's why we all sitting on this panel, no? Because that's exactly how I feel. Like, you know, if it ain't how the prophet brought it, it's not what the prophet brought, then why we even bother? You know what I mean? Because all it's gonna do is put us right back in the same predicament. The prophet already. That's why when you go and find out what he did and really get the literature, and then everything reveals, and you like, wow. Then you sit back and then you be like, okay. And then all these people been conspiring all this time, telling lies. See what I'm saying? Telling lies. So it really
majority of the time is for some type of financial gain. Like I said, the ones from even back in the prophet days that went left and didn't stay the course and stay the path, that went left and branched off, all became millionaires off of this knowledge in some way, shape, form, or fashion. However they coined it, phrased it, renamed it, worded it, whatever. It's the exact same as today. People are trying to profit off of it.
Yeah. Yep. Just like
I used to tell the groups, this ain't for. I'm not doing this to gain no fiat from it. We just doing it.
Right. And I want to put this in it too, Noble. I didn't heard now that they trying to bring the Moorish Zionist temple, right? Like it was before the prophet or something. And I just shook my head. Like, y'all gotta understand what's really going on. Suleiman too, you know what I mean? They try to talk about him like, oh yeah, Suleiman, he brought the mystic shrine and da. Yeah, but he couldn't touch the prophet though. And if y'all did y'all research, y'all understood that. That's why More. That's why they had to time the prophet demise. Here go reincarnated prophet. Like 4 or 5 months after the prophet demise, here he comes. Talking about he the reincarnated.
Shit, less than that.
Yeah.
They jumped on that before prophet even got murdered.
That's crazy, man. Those are two biggest things that just make it boil my blood right there. For number one, how people won't give the prophet his due, and for two, how it ain't nothing else. It ain't nothing else. God damn, it ain't nothing else out there to even be looking at, trying to go. It ain't nothing else to do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, because I'm looking into my notes too, Grand Sheik, and he did when the prophet died July 20th, 1929 at 9:50 p.m. Here go this guy.
Yeah.
So all of them, Kirkman Bay, yeah, he got with Timothy Dingle L. All of them. Putting the marks on the feds, the prophet said not to do. You got the mark. You got a mark on your face.
That's like I was talking to one of the vendors earlier at the gig today, and he was like, he was talking about something, and he was like, yeah, I hate the knockoffs, this, that, and the other, because it ain't right. They always it look like it, but it ain't quite it, and it almost look like it, but it ain't right. That's why, because they can't go with the right shit because people gonna catch on to it. So we're gonna throw a little twist in here. We ain't gonna jewel the feds up, but we're gonna go on and trick it out a little bit. That's the same thing. That ain't what the prophet said, and that ain't what he did. We was talking about Legos, matter of fact, and he was like, man, he hate the knockoffs, this, that, and the other. If it ain't Lego, then he don't want it. I said, I'm with you. If it ain't the real shit, I don't want it either. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes There's nothing like the real thing, baby. Nothing like it.
Ain't nothing like the real thing, baby.
Let me get to these questions so they don't get too far behind. Should Moors deal with unconscious others in relationships? Should Moors deal with unconscious others in relationships?
Well, it depends. You know what I mean?
You can and you will, but that's on you. You want those problems? That's a whole nother ball of wax.
Right.
From your relationship. No shit. You gotta think about it. It's a whole different ball of wax. It's a whole different ball game. It's a whole different ball game. Trust me.
And then you got to make sure if they're susceptible of being submissive to the teachings. You see what I'm saying? If they are susceptible to be submissive to the teachings, then yeah. But if you know what I mean, if they're not trying to do anything that come in within that light, so they can understand themselves, well then it's a waste of time. You know what I mean? Because then it depends. You know what I mean? Because uplifting fallen humanity is in all aspects. See what I'm saying? So it's really what your heart is intended for what you want to put your time and consideration in.
Yep. Islam. I second all that.
That's cool.
Next question. How would Moors deal with suicidal thoughts with others? How much love is really needed in today's people's experiences?
Well, I can answer that one too. I look at it like this. A lot of people perception and perspectives comes with experience. So most people have to go through certain things to even, have a compassion to listen to other people's problems so they can work out, problem solving, and solutions that, like I said before, it's up to that individual when they come to seek help, is they going to listen when people give them that advice. So, we have to do things in love because that's our first principle.
Right. And the other side to that, or another side to that, is when dealing with the suicidal people, if they haven't done it yet, that says something, because suicidal people who have dealt with, they did it. They ain't nothing to talk about.
Right.
So if they're thinking about suicide or starting to cut or whatever like that, you're seeing scars and whatever, then it's more a mechanism from the youth who I've worked with, that I see them personally have the scars and have the burns and have the whatever, that they don't really want to do it. That's a coping mechanism for some other stuff that they don't want to deal with.
Right.
That they should be dealing with, because people who are doing the suicide, they're just jumping in front of the train. It ain't no question.
Yeah, 1,000%, Cujo. I have a 22, soon to be 23-year-old daughter who attempted to do that some years back, and it was roughly 2 years before I came into the knowledge or whatever, right? So to answer that question briefly, I would say more or less, it's a cry for help. So they just want, for one, they want to be heard. They want to be listened to. They want to be talked to. So for one, that's number one. Get that out the way first, and I think that will resolve 95% of those thoughts and those issues.
Yeah, that's a good point. Islam. Yeah. Right, and again, that's going back to how much love is really needed. So you gotta love them to listen. You gotta love them to give, competent advice. You gotta love them to, maybe sit there for 2 hours with them because the bullet's in the gun, and you really want to assist them. And like I'm saying, if they haven't done it yet, then they're
they need somewhere to vent. They want somewhere to vent.
Because somebody who's gonna commit suicide, they do it. They're not asking any questions or stopping to think or pray or anything like that. They're just doing what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said when the signs that are given openly, it's a cry for help. They want help. They want somebody to say something, talk, ask a question, see what's wrong. They want some communication. Maybe they feel sheltered. Maybe they feel bullied. Maybe they feel underappreciated, or maybe they feel they do whatever it is, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? Not to get too emotional, but been there, done that. Like you said, you sit there for 2 hours, try 5 to 7 hours just talking. You know what I'm saying? If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But ain't got the our first principle.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So and I don't have children, but I work with youth, so I already know the madness and that's a real thing. You know what I mean? Having anxiety and all this. Like, I don't know what that stuff is. Like, I can't remember being a youth and having anxiety about something.
Man, Cujo, I swear to God, when I heard all these goddamn terms, anxiety and social depression and agoraphobia, which I had to fucking look up, which means fear of crowds, being around crowds. But wait, you go to fucking school and you could go out with your friends whenever they go out like that. Ain't that a fucking crowd? I don't get it. So me at the time, and knowing and hearing all this shit in my head, Cujo, at this time, this was before I came into the side, I'm like, man, that's some white people shit. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I said at the time, because that's what I'm thinking. Like, man, I ain't with that anxiety. What the fuck is that? What is that? Because I don't get it. But now, open mind, thinking all the fucking social media and block Facebook, Twitter, all that shit, and all the phone. Everybody got a fucking phone, and the need to feel presentable 24/7, 365 in a glamorous Kardashian lifestyle. Like, I get that to an extent, but even then, I'm still like, man, what the fuck is that about? I ain't even with that shit. Where'd that come from? But that's the agenda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Islam,
Islam, peace, Moors. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
It sounds like you got a mic and stuff right now.
What does that mean?
Is it
like reverberating or something?
Clear. No, you sound clear.
Oh, okay. That's what's up. I got a new keyboard. Yay. Yeah, that's what's up. Upgrade, right? But yeah, you absolutely right and exact about people who gonna do that like off themselves. They don't talk about it. Usually, folks are shocked, they just go do it. If my thing is, like, I deal with other people's children a lot too, and I'm finding a very, very concerning trend among them. Why they might be like coming up talking to people about harming themselves. They're lonely, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the saddest thing. You're totally, completely, admirably, like, I'm jealous of you, free. You have like, and you don't know, you're not really familiar with all the consequences of life yet. Yeah, right. And you're alone, right? And I don't know, it's like, how they put people in prison, our people in prison, to give them time to think, right? So what happens when you're alone? You got too much time to think, and you're young, you don't have no guidance, so you start thinking like horrible thoughts. So if somebody, me personally, if like, well, you managed to find me and you're talking to me about something like this, so that must be for a reason, at least personally, right? That must be for a reason, because I try to keep a low profile and avoid conversation, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's like, well, Allah sent you to me for some reason, so let me see what, at least me, I'm saying personally, because I know not everybody deals with everything. My experience is not the experience, right? But it's just like, well, what are you telling me? I don't have no canned response for you, because that shows respect. And then, I'm gonna point you to some scripture personally and just tell you to open the book, because I can't help you, because this ain't my journey. All I can do is listen and let you know what worked for me, which was scripture. I'm not gonna say which one. And then you take it from there. But unfortunately, you're gonna have to lean on your own understanding, that kind of thing. But don't do nothing to yourself. Islam.
And that's exactly what I was saying there, to where 9 times out of 10, if they come to you and that's the issue, that's all they want. Right there, what you just gave them, a little bit of guidance, not necessarily on no direction, no pushing, no specific direction, to listen and give some guidance, or just maybe even to just listen.
Yeah, we got to be sensitive to that too, as the older generation. Like Cujo, you just said it. Like, I don't get it. That's why I said it. Like, I didn't get it either. Like, you're young, you're free. you kind of out of your parents' grasp. I know what I did.
Yeah, that part right there.
You want to end it right here? Are you sure? And my thing is, they're lonely, right? All this social media, all this access to artificial, and it's like they don't have no connection to none of it, like organic, like people, like real life people in their face, sitting on a stoop, just sitting outside, right? Yeah. I'm just like so thankful that my children, there's numerous of them, and they have each other and they enjoy each other. Because I'm just like, me personally, there ain't no way I'm letting you associate with the rabble around here, full shade, right? Because these people have keepers, they don't have parents. I'm a parent, right? So it's like, unfortunately, I can't let you outside. So yes, I know how that can produce loneliness. And then the social media stuff is not helping. I got 1 million followers on social media. So what are you spending your time doing? And then wondering why you lonely, right? So it's like crazy. It's like, go outside. Go outside. Is that an app?
Yeah, no. That part right there. And I tell my 14-year-old all the time, when I was 14, man, yes, I had a twin brother, so we was always together. But I was walking across town. I'm talking about, I live on the north side of town, man. We walked to the west side of town where my other homeboys lived in, or we met up halfway and then went on and did whatever we did for the day before we went back home.
All that, right? You were bumping all kinds of stuff, right? And they just like on these, like the Black Mirror. This stuff is so scary. And my children, they got time limits. And it's like, nope, set your clock. Because you will not be spending as much time on these things as a person spends on the floor.
That's what I do right there. That's exactly what I do right there. My 10-year-old sit down. You know what he did would be I meant to tell you this, Cujo. Like 2 Saturdays ago, we sitting down playing with some Legos. Building Legos, because like she said, I don't want them to be outside like that. The environment outside ain't friendly. It ain't user friendly like I like. So I prefer them to be inside with me. So we sitting down playing Legos and stuff, right? Building Legos and stuff. We done built planes and all kind of shit. So out of the blue, my 10-year-old, Cujo, the one that I told you that's getting it, you know what I'm saying? He getting it. He say, Dad, I thought you said you had don't you got a chess set? I was like, yeah, I remember I got that glass chess set, right? It's my 10-year-old, man. Oh, man. Hurt my man. It's made my heart drop a tear. He's like, well, don't you wanna play chess? Do you wanna play a game of chess? I said, what, man? I scraped them Legos off the table so quick and go to grab my chess set. But I didn't have the chess set for about 3 years. I even got a couple of beginners books and all that too, right? So I haven't sat down and learned the game yet, right? So we sit down, he put the pieces all on the board or whatever. He said, you go first. I said, you go first. I'm trying to test him. Oh man, he know what pieces can move this way, and this one can't take that one, and you can't go that way with this one. And you put this one back. Which way you go? He can't go that way. He can only go this way, and he can only jump this one. And this is the only one that can take this one. And he quick to do a move, and then what do you call it? He block his queen in the corner, or whatever the fuck it is, castle. He quick to do that shit, and I'm like, man, he teaching me the game of chess at 10.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
That's what I said. That's what's up. Okay, so he ain't outside scraping his knees and getting grass stains in his clothes and shit. Okay, so I give that up for this shit.
And I mean, I'm finding if you just tell them why they can't go outside, they understand. And then if
absolutely,
me personally, unfortunately, I can just take them to the window and be like, "See,"
straight up.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's very entertaining. I'm wondering, it's like, am I in the hood to like do something? Because all the fights break out in front of my door, right in front of my door. I wish I was joking. I need to set up a camera and show y'all. I really do. I'm for real. So I'm just like, man, I don't know. But yeah, these Moorish children, just tell them, involve them. Because I mean, I don't know who. I'm getting the impression that this is like a Mork and Mindy situation with these children. Not to diverge from the conversation, but since we are children, I don't know if y'all like of age to remember Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, I remember Mork.
How the people aged backwards. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if that's what's going on with these children, because mine constantly schooling me, like making me think. Right.
Yeah, but
I know some stuff. Never mind.
All the time. But growing up, my grandmother was one to always tell me that I was an old soul. Yeah. So I never knew what that meant, so I got about, I don't know, early mid-20s or whatever. So now I'm double that. And I'm seeing that in him. This is an old soul, man. You've been here before. What the fuck you got going on? Like,
I was talking about children there today. Like, I was listening. Me and my daughter were reading something, and it said the guy was like, it was a guy, and he was like, "Give me a child for 7 years in the environment that I can control, and I will make that child a doctor, a professor, a teacher. I can also make a beggar or a thief as long as I have complete control over it." I'm like, wow, that sounds so patrilineal. Like, and then I'm like, well, then there's, because I've actually read a book, The Art of Love. I think that's it. Where they were talking about the difference of conditional versus unconditional love. And you can also say paternal versus maternal love in the same respect. Where fathers, you got to prove your worth to get their love. And they want you to do it like that, right? I grew up with a Marine
all the time.
So I know, I know what that looked like. I know exactly what you're talking about, right? And then the mothers are like, well, let me see what you show me, and I'm going to show you how to do that better. And you can do no wrong in my eyes. You can just do it better, And and I'm wondering if that's what the Moorish thing is. Like, your son led you, and look what happened. Did you learn anything?
Absolutely, still learning. Still learning. Like I said, I typically get him every other weekend. Now he's coming over 2-3 times a week.
Oh, that's what's up. Shameless plug, real quick. 77 days of elevation is about to start on the 7th. So there you go. You got 77 days to learn how to elevate to your son's level. What a great thing to have to say. Are you kidding me?
Say less. Challenge. Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
7 days. Here we go.
Yep.
I got some other stuff I'm throwing in that 77 days too. This is gonna be a doozy right here. Grand. Can't wait to see the grand finale.
Yeah, right. What you gonna look at like at the beginning and at the end, for real. Yup. Shout out to Sheldon L for coming up with that one.
Yeah, it's a fast.
See, Cujo, I thanked you at the beginning of this when I came in, but see the platform you provide. You see this, Moorish unity. If you don't do where Bobby at.
There's a couple more questions. See if we can get through those. Actually, let me see if there's any more. Yeah, okay, we got a couple still, so we're good to go. All right. The next one is should we study solo or find a group / temple? We'll pass that
Well,
go ahead, Cujo.
Well, I can answer that. Yeah, I say it's up to however you want to do. You know, most people like study groups. Most people like to study by themselves. But as long as you're sharing information and coming back and forth with Moors, you know, it's however you feel comfortable. Because studying depends on who you have around you to study. Because most people, they'll wait on you to provide the answers and they're not contributing. So most Moors might be like, wait a minute, I'm doing all the work here. So it depends. You know what I mean? If you get with certain Moors that all of y'all are on the same page as far as research, and y'all are on the same page as far as, you know, doing certain things to uplift fallen humanity, yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, you have to have an experience, so you'll have to try and see which one suits you. Islam, are you the floor, Grand Sheik?
Islam, if anybody else wants to get in on that one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like he said, it depends. It depends. More than likely, you come into this knowledge in the right way, head on. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find yourself by yourself. That's just what it is, because you're gonna alienate yourself from everybody else because your light's starting to shine and theirs is dim. Literally, and that's what it is. So in the event you do that, study by yourself until you find like-minded Moors to study with, if that comes to be. Because it may not come to be, and you may be the only conscious studied Moor in your area. Islam, are you before?
Islam, I say do both. Study by yourself because you need to do self-reflection all the time, right? And then join a temple because you should be in a temple anyway, right? The prophet said it. You can't really even be recognized on the national stage, international stage, as a Moor unless you're in some kind of body politic, and we have one called the temple. So you need to be up in there anyway, right? And then in my experience, I study better on my own, but I also find the benefit of fellowship, just to get other people's perspective on the same topic. You know, not necessarily to study, but at least to discuss. And that seems to be the main thing that we do in Sunday school. Sunday what? School.
School.
And, you know, it's like, don't be organized where you've been, you know, oh, we brought this up at Friday prayer, where you should have been. And then we said we're going to go into it on Sunday if you're interested, right? If nothing else, just to see how other people think about it, because your perspective is only your perspective. Don't you want to see other ways to think about it? What better way to do that than some Moors who took the time to show up to the temple, right?
Right.
So, yeah, but of course, I compare it to college, right? Or even high school. I can't say really grade school, but where you went to school, you listened to somebody that everybody, I guess, respected as wizened. And then you went off and you studied on your own, right? And then you came back and you got some more and was like, and then you adjusted accordingly. So yeah, do both. Islam, I yield.
Islam. Yep, I'm good with all those. Yeah, ain't nothing to add to that. There's one more in there. How do Moors deal with others who have hard times with expressing themselves?
Hey, well, like T.I. say, I ain't want to answer that because that ain't never personally been a problem of mine.
Yeah, I don't understand the question. You can't express what like they can't speak or they like not creative. What?
But I guess them not being able to vocalize themselves or get what.
I mean, I'm not like trying to make fun of nobody, but it's just like that's kind of general. You can't express yourself.
And exactly. So this is what I tell people. I don't speak about anything that I don't know about. Not that somebody told me, not a video I watched, not something I overheard. I don't talk or mention anything that I don't know about. If I'm talking about it, I know about it, and I can prove it.
As well.
I kind of do get it though. Why they would ask more how to express themselves, and yes, that could go anywhere because Moors can tell you for real. You know what I mean? More free me.
Yep.
So yeah.
And expression is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Islam.
That's expressing ourselves.
Watch out. Yeah, but some are just, I mean, I get it too, but I take and look at that question coming from a, not like you said, not to make fun of nobody or none of that stuff. That's coming from a subdued and submissive mindset.
Right.
Like you said, or what do you mean by the question? Even how can you not express yourself? Your dress expresses yourself, does it not?
Yeah. Expressing yourself is a constant.
Like you was reading something the other day, Cujo would have said somewhere, dressing in Moorish garb was a style. Like that was the fact. That was the shit.
Right.
We fell out of that. So to ask the question, that's almost offensive. To ask the question of how do you express yourself, or whatever the question was in regard to Moorish nationality or whatever. What you mean? How you express yourself as a nigga?
Exactly.
Right.
Well, there go the scimitar. So basically, we already answered that question. Grand Street anymore?
I don't think so. I think that was it. I had a troll had a question. Where do you get your psychology degree? Jackbox?
Where do you get what?
Where do you get your psychology degree? A Cracker Jack box?
Who said anything about a psychology degree? Why you making stuff up? You know. It must be a bot.
And a quote unquote psychology degree from what quote unquote university? Who said that that's a fucking psychology degree?
Who said anything?
Fuck out of here. Because I followed the syllabus and learned what y'all said learn, and I passed the test that y'all gave me on the shit y'all told me to go study and learn. That give me a degree.
Y'all being exposed as liars. Ain't nobody impressed by having your paperwork. Gone somewhere.
Right. These people, they full of crap.
FYI, I got one of them too.
But they full of crap though, Noble.
Tucked in the back pocket just cause.
What, a degree?
Yeah,
I got one buried somewhere. Like Ann.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. So
under something. You know, what does that tell me?
You're not messing with these Moors here are studious. That means we study.
Right.
We study continuously.
To learn, not to impress.
Right. Exactly.
You know? For real.
Impress nobody. Did that shit for myself.
Exactly.
Free of charge on Uncle Sam, as they say. Oh, take that. Shit.
That's what's up. Any more questions? Nah.
More questions? No, I think that's it. I think Moors did it. Another good platform. Honors to all the Moors worldwide. I'll open the floor for the Moors to make any closing remarks or comments.
Islam, 77 days of elevation. Details at khalifamedia.com. That's Khalifa with a CALIFA. All right, media.com. It's 77 days to do something with yourself, right? Moors are, we're like the all, right? Expressions of Allah on earth. What are you doing to cultivate that? You got 77 days to do something, right? Even if you just look at it almost every day for 77 days, at least your eyes gonna get better, right? And that's that. 77 days Islam, and it starts 7/7. All right, Islam.
Well, I want to say Islam to everybody on the platform. Especially you, Grand Sheikh. We appreciate you. Honors to you, and especially honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and honors to all the faithful Moors that continuously put in work and for the cause to uplift our people. And I just really pray and hope that a lot of our people don't take this stuff that we say lightly, and they really start doing their own investigation and stop listening to everybody and go in and find out for self, because that's what Islam, our self-law and master, is all about, and it means peace. So I'm gonna yield the floor with that, and I just want to tell everybody: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and that's the principles, and that's what we got to adhere to. And Islam, I yield the floor, Grand Sheikh.
Islam. Peace, brother Tariq.
Oh yeah, last but not least. Grand Sheikh, I just want to give Brother Kuto, man, I just want to give you your honors and stuff, man, just for having the platform and allowing us to be on here and build like this. Everybody else, the mothers, the prophet, highest honors always, every day, all day. Love and light, Moors, love and light.
Islam, Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors. Islam to the Moors in the chat. You already know. Study, study, study. And honors to the divine prophet, the man. Honors to Noble Drew Ali for all the work that he did. And honors to all the Moors on the platform. Peace and love, Moors. Islam.
Islam, y'all. Peace.
Islam. Peace and love, Moors.